Hi everyone, welcome to this video about the state of AI. As you know, I like to comment on recent AI developments, and one of the things I really like is Stanford's AI Index, and they recently published this article talking about the state of AI in 14 charts. Okay, so let's go through that. I think it's a very interesting piece of work with a very clear message, and we'll very soon see what this is. Um, so the first thing that the first chart that they share with us is about large language models. Okay, and something which is fairly obvious is that large language models are getting larger and larger. And for a long time in the machine learning community and the deep learning community, there was this conversation around whether size of networks is important. And the truth is a resounding yes. Okay, so it looks like with large language models, for the first time, we're close to creating something like general artificial intelligence. And it looks as if we've finally cracked that code. And yes, size plays a very important role in this. So it looks like LLMs are getting larger and larger. And based on what we've seen in the last few months, the exponential progress in this field, God only knows where we're going to be a few years from now. This obviously has other implications, like around benchmarks. I guess that's not so relevant unless you're in data science, because it looks like all these systems are becoming better and better at training, essentially at surpassing these benchmarks, which means that we need to get even, let's say, more difficult benchmarks. I guess the best example of this is the fact that GPT actually manages to pass some certain exams, like I think it was the Bar of New York and like medical exams and the SAT scores and things like that. So it's clear that we do have networks that can that can pass the Turing test. Therefore, and I'm not just talking about the Turing test, I'm also talking about like machine learning benchmarks used in research. Therefore, we need to go a level above and beyond, okay, in order to really understand whether we're making any progress. Um, then this report goes on to talk about some ethical considerations. Obviously, the cost of training is very high. Personally, to be honest with you, I'm one of those people that don't really believe the environmental cost is important, simply because as this technology improves and improves, it becomes more efficient. So I don't really see a billion computers all over the world trying to run, GPT-4 or whatever. I do believe we're going to see improvements in not only the algorithms themselves, the software, but also the hardware, which will only make things better in that regard. So yes, it's kind of a concern, but is it really? I believe it's not as big, especially compared to other sources of pollution out there. Um, and obviously, as AI now is becoming more prevalent, it's involved in more controversies, and this also relates to ethics. So I guess these two things go hand in hand. So it's not like that AI suddenly has become something else, but because it's more useful, it's being implemented in more industries, and because it's implemented in more industries, there are going to be more problems that arise from it. It's the same thing with every technology, right? So if you go into, I don't know, the 17th century, there were no car accidents because there were no cars. Okay, there were no laws around how someone should drive a car because there were no cars. And then obviously we had like these new inventions, so we have all kinds of which had all kinds of effects on our lives. And it's the same thing with AI. And we're talking about like major controversies, like bias or AI making catastrophic decisions, which some people are warning us about, all the way to AI being used to cheat exams, which obviously raises some questions in this particular case, exams as to what education is supposed to achieve. As you might have guessed, this creates lots of pressure in for AI workers, let's say, and that's actually a very good thing for anyone who's involved in AI and data science education, like I am. As you know, we have a data science bootcamp called Beyond Machine, also an education company for senior professionals called TESSERACT Academy. If you want to learn more about them, just feel free to reach out. And I think this trend is only going to increase. I don't know whether in the future AI becomes so good to the extent that we see the opposite trend. Like we've seen AI being used in order to code, sorry, to generate like code and Some people say it's going to be a productivity tool. Other people are saying that it's going to take the jobs of software developers. I don't know. At least for now, being a data scientist and AI engineer, any job in this area is very, very attractive in terms of salaries, and the job postings keep increasing. Um, we did see some investment like cooling down, but I don't think that's really. I don't think that says anything about AI itself. I think this says a lot about the current economic climate and interest rates. So I think that probably this graph on its own doesn't really give us a full picture. I think probably Stanford should have done a better job at interpreting what we're seeing here, because obviously 2022 and now we're in 2023 has been a very interesting year for what we're seeing in terms of the macroeconomy, and not just those years. I mean, pretty much since the COVID years, from zero interest rates to then now crazy inflation. uh, this has obviously caused issues in terms of investment in acquisitions and R&D in all of those areas. Uh, Obviously, China, we know that it's very focused on technology and technological advancement. This is probably a very good chart that shows why uh, China it might be ahead of the rest of the world in, at least not necessarily AI. I wouldn't say that, but at least in the implementation of advanced technologies in industrial production, and we probably will see them dominate in this area. And something else which also caught my attention is this graph in particular, where it shows that most of the people that have AI PhDs go in the industry, a few go to academia, and very few go to the government. I guess this creates some problem in many government agencies that might be understaffed in certain ways. But I guess with the industry paying more competitive salaries, I guess the government simply doesn't find it easy to compete, right? And another trend, maybe this graph, I should have put it a bit further up when we talk about AI ethics and all that. It shows that the number of AI related bills is increasing. Um, and I guess that's only going to increase in the near future. Hopefully, we won't see, Europe and the US passing passing legislation which is going to kill innovation, but no one knows for sure. Let's see. And also, the government, the federal government in the US, is increasing the budget for AI R&D. I guess that's like a global phenomenon, not just the federal government. I'm sure we see budgets for other countries. It's going to be similar, at least in the developed ones. And I guess that's like a positive trend. We do see more women women with a computer science degree. I think that's again a very positive development, because for a long time I think that computer science and tech was like a job that uh, for whatever reason, like either it was not very attractive for women, or like actually there was bias against women in this sector, which created all sorts of problems. And obviously, it's only good that this space is becoming more inclusive, right? And that's obviously this. Then this graph also pretty much shows the same, but for broader for ethnic diversity. Again, I think diversity in general in this sector is very important, because in the next few years, all countries will require really all hands on deck researching applications of AI and helping with implementations in different sectors. The same like with faculty and whatnot. So, if we could summarize like this, let's say all these graphs, like like in a few sentences, I believe the most important message is that AI is growing. Okay, this is by far the most important message. AI is growing, and AI is here to stay, and it will be used by every single industry out there. So, what can you do? All right. So, if you're a business owner, you have to understand how to become data driven. That's by far the most important thing, because the businesses that become data driven are the ones that are going to survive. If you're an individual, like not a business owner, someone who, uh, worries about their career, or they want to get better job prospects, well, I guess you have two options, right? One, if you actually want to pursue a career in data science, that's a great thing. Okay, so now is the time to start. Okay. Secondly, if you don't want to become a data scientist, you'd still need to have some kind of affinity for AI and basic data science to at least be able to work with data and data scientists. And I guess that's very important. And We help with both really. I'm running a data science bootcamp as well as an education company for senior professionals called Tesseract Academy, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Okay, and so I hope you found this informative. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Go on my personal website, thedatascientist.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you.